Alright, so today I am going to show you how I'm doing my son's Majora mask. He asked me to do this mask that he saw that is from Legend of Zelda, and I didn't know exactly how to do it or what it was, so I kind of had to go off of a picture off the internet. And first thing was, I knew it had to be a heart shape, so I used a wire to create a shape of a heart, which you don't have to do if you wanted to use cardboard, or if you just wanted to roll up some newspaper and then Mod Podge that into a heart shape, that would work. So after I did that, I needed to make some cones, and this is what my cones kind of look like. I just kind of grabbed some paper, some newspaper, and I made it into a cone shape, and I Mod Podged it with water. I diluted Mod Podge into this bowl with enough water to kind of make it just a little bit runny and a little bit still pasty. Not too pasty, mostly watery, so that the paper would actually be soaked and able to be wrapped around the cones. So once I did a couple of layers, it was good. It's not too hard. I wanted to make it harder once I've actually found the spot, and then could go ahead and keep on applying more layers. I did mess up a couple times, but the good thing is, since it's Mod Podge, you could, or just since it's paper mache, you could just go ahead and break it off and start all over, which I did have to do because initially I did have the two horns at the top and they were misplaced, so I had to take them off and start all over. But right now I'm at the part where I need to make this look like a heart again because it doesn't really look hearty anymore. So after I make it into a complete heart, then I'm going to add the horns, and then I'm going to add a layer of paper, like brown paper bag, so that it'll be easier to paint without having the images of the newspaper come through. So what I'm going to do right now is make it more into a heart, and then after I do that, I'm going to add the horns to the top, which is these last two cones. And then I did make these little round balls with using a water balloon. I blew up a water balloon without the water, of course, and then just kind of made the shape of a roundness so that I can make the eyes. And I'm going to have to kind of cut it a little slit to make it more wide and push it down so it can fit. But it'll be more understandable once I get that part done. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with the mask, making it into a heart shape, and then you'll see what I mean. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I like to make my paper mache. Usually I do paper mache, which is like a whole long process of using flour, salt, and water. But it takes so long because you have to let every layer dry before you can work on a project. So what I like to do to make a quick project is use Mod Podge. I got this container right here of Mod Podge. You can use any kind, I think. This one's the matte kind. They have different kinds like gloss and everything. This is a basic one. So I like to put a little bit of this inside a bowl, and then I like to add water, because if you use just Mod Podge by itself, it will work, but it's just kind of a waste whenever you can just dilute it and it'll work just the same, especially if you need it to be soft like paper mache. So I put about that much, and then I'm just going to put some water in and make it like a milky consistency. Alright, so I put enough water to cover the layer of Mod Podge that was in there, and then I just kind of mix it around, and it's going to look watery like this, and that's about the way I want it because I'm going to be soaking shreds of paper into project. Because if it's thick, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry. When it's thin, it dries faster, so that's why I like to use Mod Podge instead of paper mache. Anyways, after you do that, you get some paper, and you just want to kind of cut it into little strips. You don't really want to stick it in there. Instead, you want to be able to brush it. Oops. You want to dip your brush into the Mod Podged water, and then kind of just brush it onto there. Once you do that, you're going to stick it onto your project. So you find a spot that you need it on, and then get your brush again just to kind of smooth it on there and lay it flat. And then you want to keep doing that for the whole project. So far, this is what I've gotten done. I've made it into a better heart shaped because it wasn't very good to begin with. Which, let me see if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see. But I'm going to make the top part more hearty looking, more of a lump on the two sides because it's not coming out very much like a heart right now. So once I do that, I'm going to use a brown paper bag that I'm going to cut into strips to cover up these images so that when I paint it, it won't have to use so much paint. Because if I paint it right now like this, you're going to have to use a ton of paint to cover up the images. But if I use a flat, solid base like brown paper bag or even regular printing white copy paper, you can be able to paint faster, better, and not have to use so much paint. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this, and then I'm going to put on the last two cones, which are going to be the horns at the top of the head. Once I get the heart shape finish, I'll be able to figure out where I want these cones at, which are the horns. And then I also made these little parts for the eyes. And then I went ahead and started tearing little spots of the circle so it won't be so round and hard like this, because that's just too high up. You're going to want it to be wider and more pushed down. So once I did that, I have a better type of eye that's going to lay a little bit flatter instead of being so heeled. And then I'll be able to paper mache this and smooth it into the mask itself, so it'll be kind of like blended in well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up my paper mache mask. Once I do that, I'll show you what it looks like covered up in a solid paper, and then we'll start painting. All right, so this is what it looks like right now. I just put some brown packaging paper on it. If you don't have brown packaging paper, you can use probably a paper bag and just kind of soak it a little bit more so that it's more bendable and able to use on these curves and stuff. I just did a little sketching with the pencil. I did make a few mistakes, so it's good that I used a pencil to erase some of the mistakes. I just went off the picture on the internet, and this is pretty much what I got as my image. So now I'm just going to paint it, and hopefully it looks a lot like what my son's wanting it to look like. But I think it looks really good so far. On the back it just has like a little hanger to hold it if you want to hold it. But I think he wanted me to put like eye holes in it, so that's going to be probably a little difficult. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. But so far this is what it looks like. I think it's going to be pretty cute once we paint it. Hopefully he likes it, and then I'll be done. Alright, so I'm finally finished with the Majora mask. This is what it looks like nice and painted before I'm doing the sealant. The hardest part for me was doing the blending of the colors at the end. It's not that great. I do recommend using like a palette and kind of blending your colors together. Also recommend that like on the end, if you do it like green here, yellow here, mix the green and yellow on your palette and then kind of just smear like a line in front and then blend it. That kind of helps a little bit. Didn't do so well on the red one, but oh well. Also on my mask, it's not completely portioned right, but you know, it's the best I can do. The colors I did have to use was white, and I got these at Walmart for 50 cents each. Some of these I already had. The ones I didn't have was the yellow, purple, and the red, the dark red. I have red, and I could make this color using regular red and a little bit of black, but I wanted to go ahead and not have to mix any colors. I wanted it to be able to not run out of my mixture and then have to try to make it the same color again. So I did use these, and this one's called Purple Pansy. This one's called Tuscan Red, and then I just used the bright yellow. And I did already have orange, which I think this is just a regular orange color. I don't think it has a fancy name or anything. Black, white. I already had this blue one, and I already have this green one. So this is what it looks like, and then I went and bought this to seal it, and it was less than $8. I don't really remember how much it cost. So I'm going to take this outside and do a layer onto the mask so that it will stay nice and sealed. Alright, and so hopefully that's going to be good enough. I'm just going to let it sit. It said it takes about 15 minutes. So we'll let it sit out here for a little bit, and then we'll add another layer later. Alright, so this is what it looks like when it's all finished. I think it turned out pretty good. The only part that was not so good was the top with the orange. I made it way too like far down. It should have been higher up. But I could always go back and paint over that. The good thing about paint is anytime you mess up, you can just go back and paint again. So that part I'll probably adjust by painting it purple about ½ an inch, I guess. No, it looks like maybe maybe more than that. Maybe an inch will need to be painted purple, and then it'll look a lot better. But I think it looks really good. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully this gives you guys ideas about masks or costumes, or you know, how to do a paper mache project without having to take forever, because paper mache recipe takes forever, but the Mod Podge watered down, it literally dries like 10 minutes, so it's a lot quicker to keep going and you don't have to worry about it molding up. So hopefully you guys like this video. I hope y'all did. I had fun making it. Thank you for watching. Bye.
See through that.
Don't.
You don't?
I want Mommy to, but she said that she wouldn't. She think that would mess it up, kind of.
Really? It did turn out pretty good, huh?
What are you doing?
Hi.
You like it? I messed up a little bit.
Did she?
Yeah.
I saw that this was a little bit too high.
I messed up on the orange part a little bit too quick. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mommy.
Love you.
You too.
Who's the other one?